The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here he is, Brandon.
Greetings. Welcome to the Brandon Peters Show. This one is a solo episode with just me, featuring a review of the upcoming film Tenants, which will be available on video on demand, digital, starting September 24th. I have a review for you coming up shortly for that. Just some show notes for here. I hope you're enjoying my PopCon Louisville live recordings. I've got some more for you coming next week, which includes the Poorly Described Movies game, franchise health check, and a conversation with Abdul Hakim Shabazz, which are all good things. I still don't have the recording for Poorly Described Movies live from Days of the Dead. They had told me they were getting it to me at the end of last week. I still don't have it currently, but all in due time. And everything's, worth waiting for at the end of the day. I really do enjoy working with them and stuff. So if you're wondering where it's at, I don't have it yet, but it's on the way, I'm sure. Also upcoming, a brand new episode that isn't just like a review or anything, coming up soon after the live recordings. Justin Beam will be returning to the show, and we're going to be talking about the making of Martin Scorsese's Bringing Out the Dead on Paramount Presents 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. Justin, that was a long project that took to come fruition, which dates back to him putting out the feelers back in 2020 for it. It's now 2024. I believe he told me about it a few years ago, so I've been waiting with bated breath about things and stuff like that, but he's got a lot to tell you about that, including, talking to Martin Scorsese, meeting Nicolas Cage. It's a fun story, so I'm really excited to give him the avenue to share that, because I think it's going to be interesting for you to hear. So that's what's coming up in the show. Also, October, going to have some things. Hopefully Jessica's going to be on a few times here for that, maybe some Greg, and of course at Out Now with Aaron and Abe, we will be doing the horror episodes, and I've looked at some of the topics already, and doozies. So a lot of fun coming. And of course, my appearance at Doctoberfest, October 19th. You can come and meet me. I will be around interviewing people. I have a table and a spot, so you can come and meet me if you want. Maybe we can talk on recording. Who knows? But let's get now to the review for Tenants.
You're not supposed to be here.
I know I am not supposed to be here. Just tell me where Emily is.
You're not supposed to be here.
I know I'm not supposed to be here! Just tell me where Emily is!
You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here.
Do you even realize what you have done? Everything that you have touched has turned to ash. You have turned day to night, up to down. You have turned the natural to preternatural. You do not belong here. That is just a fraction of what you have done by coming here.
Look at me!
Why did you kill me, Leonard?
What evil did you bring here?
It wasn't supposed to be this way.
You're going to die in filth!
Hey, guys. Do you think you could keep it down just a skosh? I gotta work in the morning.
All right, Tenants tells us 7 floors, 7 stories, endless terror. Follow one woman's desperate search for her sister as she navigates a nightmare-filled apartment complex where every tenant has a story and none end well. Tenants is a anthology horror that'll keep you up at night, ready to face the terror. The film is directed. I'm going to have this directed by Jonathan Louis Lewis. That's the segment Laundry Day. It's an anthology film, so there's multiple segments here with different directors. Sean Messler, who does the segments Acting Rash and The Photograph. Blake Rigel, who does Nah. It's pretty funny. We have that, and Buzz Wallach does You're Not Supposed to Be Here, Hoarder, and Need Anything. The film is written by Sean Messler, Mary O'Neill, and Buzz Wallach. And Tenants stars Mary O'Neill, Krista Collins, Miles Cranford, Douglas Vermeeren, Tara Erickson, Clarke Wolfe, Faina Sanchez, and Rib Hills. So the synopsis here is Joni is desperate, very desperate, to find her sister Emily. So desperate, she searches for her in an apartment complex that feels strange yet familiar to her. She frantically searches every floor and interacts with the inhabitants of the building, unknowingly leaving a bloody trail of bodies behind her. An actress finds a thirst for blood. A widower comes face to face with a monster of his belongings. A couple faces the horrors of a lost baby when it returns. The apartment manager is haunted by the sins of his past, and two roommates literally kill each other over unpaid bills and cleanliness. Joni also isn't alone on her mission to find her sister. She's being stalked by a dark, shadowy figure. Will Joni live long enough to find Emily? One thing is certain in the apartment complex: the cost of rent is your life. And that's the synopsis here for Tenants. This film is the winner of 2 awards at the LA Crime and Horror Film Festival. One includes an award for Clarke Wolfe, who won Best Supporting Actress. This is a different festival at the Hollywood Blood Horror Film Festival. Clarke is going to be seeing the upcoming documentary, which I'm super pumped to see this. Trailblazer at the Deborah Hill story. You guys know me and my John Carpenter love and Deborah Hill love, so that should come as no surprise. And last year, she made her directorial debut, A Shining Example, at Fantastic Fest, is where it premiered in Austin, Texas, and won Best Dark Comedy at the 2024 Women's Comedy Festival in Atlanta. So, Clarke's also a very big pop culture person. Been a correspondent for AMC, DC Comics, Nerdist, Fandom, IMDb. She was part of the Schmodown. So she is a person who had worked with John Roca, who you know from the show, who we love very much. This review was going to include an interview with her, a chat with her, but I was the one who was unable to make it work, which bummer, because I would have loved to talk to her. She's also quite deserving and great in this movie. We'll get to her segment a little bit as we talk about this, as I wanted to focus on hers a bit more. But this comes from 13th Floor Productions in association with Exit 13. It's a Wallach Productions picture. This is Tenants. So this is a anthology horror. So the thing with anthology horror is just there's gonna be ones that maybe don't hit for you. Some hit in a row. Some it's like it's not quite throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. It's usually a culmination of different talents come together to produce something. In recent years, the VHS series has been a really popular one. People always go back to Creepshow as being like the pinnacle one for horror and things, even though there were ones in the 70s and stuff with Hammer and Amicus Pictures that would not so much Hammer, it was Amicus Pictures did a lot of did a couple of them. But this one takes place in an apartment building. There's a weird stranger coming along. But one of the props I want to give this one is it's a film that's independent horror that is actually really well lit. I mean, it's still dark and stuff, but a lot of these try to hide some of their budget shortcomings with darkened scenes. But this one is not afraid to show these things, and is actually, it's pretty proud of its gore effects and things like that. And it's like, I want to say, it's weird to say a horror movie being very well lit thing, but people are afraid of light. I mean, one of the most suspenseful movies this year is Blink Twice, and that is a bright movie. There's a lot lot of daytime scenes that fill with dread. But this one isn't quite that. But it's lit. You can see things. Plays well. It has a wonderful. I really do like a lot of the cinematography here in this one. One of the things I do like it about it, the cinematographer is Ryan Valdez. I'm going to give him credit right here. Is the opening? It has like an opening credit sequence, which I like, which takes interesting angles and takes you kind of through the building with which Tenants takes place, leading you through to the parking garage, which is where our story starts. And it's just kind of got this unsettling, like weird, what is this kind of thing going on? And we have our stranger, and we follow her as she's looking for a sister character. But as she passes everybody, the story goes to them. Like I said, some of the stories hit, some don't. I think the strengths of Tenants is when the film takes the more comedic tone. I think that's where it thrives a little bit better than some of the other scenes. Particularly like stories like the first one, the actress, the one with Clarke Wolfe in it. Those are some of the ones that I was particularly fond of because the comedic tone seemed to strike a chord with what the cinematography and the acting was going for. So um, there's some hit and miss performers in the movie. I'm not going to single people out. I'm not going to do that here. But there's some people that fit better in the comedic sense, and some are in the drama ones, and it's not kind of pulling off. Some things that not quite right there. It's not like the film is tonally off, but I feel like its superpower is the comedic stuff when it's going through with that, and it plays to a lot more of the actor's strengths in the movie than anything else, than some of the more darkly dramatic ones. Because you don't know, because there's kind of a thing with it where you don't know if some of the dramatic ones are leading you to like a punchline and dragging you along, and it's not quite like there, uh, but it does happen. The main story and stuff is more. It starts more serious and has that kind of tone, which everything's suggesting it, but something's just not quite working there to pull off some of the intensity. There's some good lighting with it. There's some good smoke effects and things like that, and some solid dread, but it's not quite making your pulse run like I think it wants to, but it's effective enough and does the job. The ones I want to point out some of these shorts that stuck with me. My favorite ones from this. Speaking of the first one, which involves a woman who was a former child actress that's kind of, things haven't been going so well, and she gets this big opportunity and then develops like a rash on her face that keeps bugging her and going through. And this one goes through desperation and silliness, like over the top stuff, and has a devilish conclusion to it, which I really like, a darkly comedic one that works quite well. But it's got goopy makeup effects and things like that really hold up, and especially as well lit as this one is. That's pretty impressive here. And the performance by the woman playing the actress, it's quite good as well. She is able to pull off both the comedy, the desperation, and getting the tone right here and just selling it. And this one really feels very like home at like with an 80s kind of anthology kind of movie feel, which I really like. So it gets off to a really good start here. The second one's kind of interesting. It's about a guy who you kind of just don't understand what's about till his son comes over, and you're like, okay, I figure what's going on. Now it's neat, and like a lot of these, some of the ones that don't work conceptually, I appreciate too. Like the photographer one it's there and not at the same time. It's about a photographer who's like also a killer, but like the people who takes picture of him, visit him, talk to him and stuff. And it's interesting the way that goes. I wasn't a big fan of the pregnancy baby one. That was just not there for me. I did like Clarke Wolfe's here, the one she stars in. which is called, I'm gonna bring it up. What it's called, Need Anything, and this is the most kind of unique one. It feels like nothing I have really seen before. With two combative roommates and different things, which Clarke I think makes a cameo appearance early on as like an influencer type person in someone else's story, and this one escalates and escalates. It's just funny and just it's one of those where is it going to stop? Nope, we're still going. It's going to stop. Nope, and we're going here, 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 and it has a great punchline to its ending as well. Clarke's quite good, and the other girl acting across from her is equally good. They have really good chemistry with one another, and makes it all the more fun just to see these contrasting characters go at one another. Kind of the whole annoying roommate thing, and the pet peeves of living with someone else on display here, and somebody living a fantasy of how they feel about it. And this one has gore effects that it's good that it's a comedy one. There's one thing they just go for it and they don't quite pull off, but it works. So well enough. But yeah, Need Anything, that is one of the tops of here. The some of the other ones here, but the ending, so there's kind of an ambiguity I like to this, but I needed just a hair detail more, kind of understand what's going on. I get it, but it's got a solid end to it. But overall, I like the idea of going floor to floor, and each floor has a different story with a different tenant as our main one passes by. Conceptually, I like a lot of this more than I do the execution to it. But not all executions are bad. Some of the ones, like, they don't have, a couple of them, like the ones I like best, maybe don't have the best ideas of this, but I like the execution, the acting and stuff, how it goes better. But some of them are more interesting than they are actually watching them. But overall, it was a solid enjoyment of this movie Tenants, which it's going to be available, to remind, on September 24th on VOD. You should take your own shot at it. I would give this one final score. I would give it a 2.5 out of 5. Just not quite all the way there for me. I was close to a 3, but I was like, stuff didn't quite work for me all the way through, but I enjoy it. And I think you should, I will say, I think you should take your own chance on it. Support independent horror films, check it out, see how it is. But it's a neat little movie you're going to like at least 1 to 2 of these, I would say, at worst. That's the worst case scenario of it. But all in all, yeah, Tenants, pretty solid middle of the road for me, but you know what? I appreciated it at the end of the day. So that'll do it for this episode. I appreciate you listening, and if you check out Tenants, let me know what you thought about Tenants. Come back, comment. Let me know, because it's an interesting one. We're in the full spooky season swing, and definitely would like to hear you. And always looking for new horror, fresh horror to check out. That isn't some sort of junk being put out in the theater for us here or there, or remakes of movies that you should just go watch the original anyway, like Speak No Evil. But that's conversations for another day. So yeah, you can check it out. Tenants, video on demand. Check your favorite streamer for pricing and everything like that. So next time on the show, I do have a couple more independent horror movies to review. I haven't got to them yet, so maybe I'll be here, maybe a guest with me, who knows. But the next solid episode will be the making of Bringing Out the Dead in 4K Ultra HD with Justin Beam. Can't wait for you to hear that one. And October is going to be interesting. We're gonna take a look at what we're doing on the show, but we got some things to line up. Kind of have to alter a plan, but for good reason. But we will check it out. So thank you for listening. And as I always say, at the end of all these, stay film positive.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.